Hello and welcome to Voices of Victory. 3 snaps, 2 claps. Welcome to Voices of Victory with Mario De Leone. Today's video reaction is going to be Mel Robbins, Dr. Carolyn Leaf, cognitive neuroscientist. We're going to go over my commentary. I'm going to add my commentary. It's going to be 100% positive intent for both parties, both Mel and Dr. Caroline Leaf. And it's just going to be me expanding and getting you to understand a little bit more. So sit back, relax, don't operate in any machinery, and let's have a good time. Here we go.
It's part of the human design that helps you grow and breathe and know how to do the things that the body has to do to keep you alive.
Mm-hmm.
Your mind is designed to constantly be learning and absorbing new electromagnetic patterns that it then puts into your mind.
Jeez,
which is
brilliant.
where like the neuroplasticity that your brain can always change.
You got it, Mel.
Wow. So
Yes,
I have a question about this.
So good.
Because you're going to teach us,
Yeah.
no matter what you've been through, no matter how messy your life is right now, no matter how scrambled your thoughts may be, no matter how stuck you think you are, you can absolutely make your mind bud and sprout completely new thoughts, completely new ways to go through life. And you have the research to prove it. When did you actually realize that this was possible?
I'm 61. I trained in that back in the 80s. And in the 80s, we were told that once the brain was damaged, that's it. This neuroscience lecturer was saying, okay, so once you've got brain damage, once you've had trauma, that's it. You've got to teach your patients to compensate. And I immediately remember putting up my hand. Now, this is back in the 80s. I'm a female. It's in science. There's majority males in my class and majority male lecturers. And there was bias. And I immediately put up my hand and I said, I wasn't trying to be difficult, but I challenged that and said, but we constantly are changing, growing, learning, all the stuff that philosophers have spoken about for thousands of years. So therefore, that means that our brain must change because our brain is the host. Our brain hosts our mind. And the brain has got to change. So this professor, kind of facetious, he said, well, go do research. I thought, well, let me do that. And I started working with people with traumatic brain injuries and saying, okay, well, if I can help them manage their mind, if I can help them rebuild and change how they're thinking, can that change the brain? I took people that had severe traumatic brain injuries. And
so give me an example. Like,
okay,
what is a patient that has severe
okay, so
traumatic...
I'll tell you a story. Can I tell you one of my most amazing stories that I tell?
All right, we're going to pause here for a hot second. We'll go into that story in just a moment. The first thing we want to discuss is neuroplasticity. All right. The beauty of neuroplasticity is that it puts the power of change back in your hands, that you're not at the mercy of genetics. You're not at the mercy of past experiences. And just like a gardener has to intentionally prune and plant and rip weeds out, you also have that agency to choose what thoughts you decide to actually nurture. And over time, those very choices reshape your very identity. Let's go ahead and hear the story.
I've been telling the story now since then, and I have permission to tell it, with one of my patients called Lee. And I had just started this research, and Lee was a 16-year-old, and her and her brother had a terrible car accident. She was thrown far from the car and she went into a coma. In that time, in the 80s, if you were in a coma for longer than 8 hours, the brain damage was considered irreversible. But these parents we're not going to accept this. There's no ways that this is going to be the case. And they said, look, please. And they begged me. So I said, okay, well, if you prepare to work with me, we're going to work together. And that's what we did. And we worked for 8 months. Now.
And so you've got their daughter was thrown from a car.
Yeah.
She's in a coma.
Yeah.
The parents are told after 8 hours, there's irreversible brain damage.
Exactly.
And I think, and you know, like even without being a doctor, it makes sense
Yeah,
because
it
you're like,
does.
okay, you've been thrown from a car. There's clearly damage, physical damage to the brain.
Exactly.
And there's nothing that can be done. And now you enter Dr. Leaf and you're like, oh, no. We're going to look at the mind, the thing that's wiggling your hands and your toes, and we're going to see if we can actually use the energetic power system.
You got it.
To reverse the traumatic brain injury?
Yes. So they didn't reach out to me in the coma. They reached out to me when she'd come through the coma and she was sort of functioning, but at a second grade level. This is a 16-year-old who's now almost 17, who can't even function at a second grade level.
Got it.
All right, let's go ahead and expand this. We're going to expand on this, okay? So this is great clinical evidence. The story of Lee, it's fantastic. But what this story actually shows us, what it shows us is what happens when belief and strategy meets consistent action and biology, right? And neuroscience. It's not just hope. It's not just hope backed by neuroscience. Her transformation isn't just an exceptional idea. What we can understand from it is that it's proof that resilience is not a personality trait. It is a damn trainable process. And if healing like that is possible, imagine what is truly possible in your own life with daily mental work. Just think about that. And let me say that again. It is proof that resilience isn't a personality trait. It is a trainable process. Let's go forward from here.
It's due to the traumatic brain injury that she experienced during the car accident.
Exactly.
So enter Dr. Leaf, and what happens?
So then I said, okay, we'll try this. We'll work together 3 days a week, 2 hours each time, but you're going to have to work in between. I mean, this is the key thing, Mel. What I want to say is that I can give you these techniques. You can help anyone but at the end of the day, you have to do the work. And we worked through I developed the 5-step process. I developed the theory clinically. And after 8 months, not only did this child restore function, she went back to school. Now, she had missed most of her 12th grade at this stage. Yep. And she was an average student before, so getting, like C's and D's and whatever, didn't do very well. She goes back to school. She's got to catch up most of her 12th grade year. That was her goal. She did it. She finished school with her peer group. She finished with, not only did she finished with flying colors. Like, for example, she suddenly became a brilliant mathematician. She was brilliant at math. She went on to get a university degree. Her cognitive, social, emotional, all of that changed. She had a funny sounding voice because she had damage to her larynx. She couldn't walk properly. So there were physical things, but mentally she restored.
First of all, it's extraordinarily compelling where you've got somebody with a traumatic brain injury and using the 5 steps that you're about to teach us today. The fact that you can help somebody in these severe traumatic cases to use the mind to heal the brain and to change the way that you experience life and to change the functioning of your mind and your body, that is so exciting. And it also gives me hope because I feel like whether you're listening right now and you're struggling with a messy mind, you overthink, you beat yourself up, you're just like can never kind of focus, or you can't let go of worry or rumination, or you have somebody that you love that.
All right, let's go ahead and break it down a little bit here. What we want to unpack is mind management. Mind management is literally a universal tool. The mind navigates the body. We could see that in sports. And quite honestly, our mind can manage everything else. It manages our time, it manages money, it manages health. But the one thing running all of it is our mind. And it goes neglected. Imagine brushing your teeth, let's say once a month, and expecting a healthy smile. Right? Let's be realistic. The same goes for your thoughts. Mind management, management of the mind is not just therapy. Your brain is the GPS for your life. I've been saying it on this channel for a very long time now. It's hygiene for your inner world. Okay, Muhammad Ali, he did not like running, but he put his sweats at the foot of his bed as a visual cue, and that was a visual cue to say, go run. That was something visual. So that was managing his mind. And let's go from here.
Has concussion damage or that has experienced trauma. I'm excited because if those extreme cases are cases where you have been able to use these 5 steps to leverage the mind and the power and the energy to change somebody in that situation's experience of life and the way that their brain functions, I think this would work for all of us.
We're human. If you're human and you're alive, you have a mind, and you need to know how to manage your mind. And this is, you're quite right, Mel. You've summarized it so beautifully. It's mind management. That's essentially what we need.
So,
There
Dr.
you go.
Ruth, though, the
Right
mind
there.
management technique and neurocycling that you're going to teach us, this 5-step approach, based on your clinical research, you can use it to both better manage stress and burnout and anxiety and depression. And you can also use
To
your
heal.
mind to heal the
Yes.
trauma from violent things that happen
Yes.
from the outside.
Absolutely.
Exactly. So the one is the healing management process, the other is the managing process. What's really
Absolutely.
key here is to understand the levels of mind. And so the question you asked me earlier on is that how does the same system work for everyone? It sounds like a magic trick. It sounds too good to be true. So first of all, there's years of science behind this. Patients that sit in front of me that have been through sexual trauma, they're not going to want to know about a complex scientific formula, nor is the traumatic brain injured patient, nor is someone who's a rushed mom, who's dad or whatever, who's just come home. I've got to be able to say, okay, do this, 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 and this. So I had to take complex science, which took me years to turn it into something very, very simple.
I want to just translate what you just said, though,
Sure,
because I
sure.
think I got it. I think I did.
I'm sure you did.
So basically, if you're in a mode in your life where the stress feels relentless or your mind feels very, very negative, if you think about how you explain conversation, that again, your mind is powering your brain and your body.
Yes.
Your mind is literally taking the energetic signals from life and then it brings it into your brain and body. And if your thoughts also start to become negative, I can't handle this. I can't handle the stress. I have no support. I'm never going to make it through this. Then what happens, you're right, is that you are creating a negative feedback loop inside your body, brain, inside your cells.
Exactly.
And it's why you start to feel so heavy.
All right, let me expand on this right here, okay? I love you both. Both of you are awesome. Mel and Dr. Caroline Lee, cognitive neurosciences. Awesome. I want to expand on this even further. I want to say, yes to everything you're saying. And your body listens to every thought like it's a command. So repeating anxious and negative thoughts is like replaying a stressful soundtrack in your brain for your nervous system. And your nervous system can't turn it off. But with intention, you can start to play a new track, one that supports calm, one that supports good energy and clarity. You're not just thinking a thought, is what I'm saying. You're building a mental habit. You're building emotional patterns, emotional habits, thought habits. And even when you start to master all that, you're also building a hormonal response that's productive. All right, so I'm going to hear the rest of it out, and then we'll go into a final takeaway.
It doesn't change the fact that you have very real stressful things you're dealing with, But because your mind is starting to now focus and repeat negative thoughts, you're creating additional negative programming. And
Right.
so if that's
Correct.
true,
That's
if
exactly.
that's true, it's interesting because on page 45 of your book, you say everything we do begins with a thought.
Yeah,
Mhm.
If we
absolutely.
want to change anything in our lives,
Thoughts
we
have to change
have
first.
to change our thinking, our mind.
Yep.
When we know how to change our mind, we rewire neural networks in the brain that then create useful, sustainable, and automatic actions and attitude, good habits that make us happier and healthier.
Now, here's the thing. Most people they either feel or believe or think that that is impossible, that they're just wired that way and that's it. And I hear it from people all the time. Oh, I'm not wired that way. Bullshit. I'm going to call flat out bullshit. When people say that, it's an excuse to stay rigid and stubborn and inflexible. Okay. When people use that as an excuse, all right, I want to be so clear about that. And this is a positive podcast. This is about having that flexibility, building mental habits, building emotional habits, which are all going to build into your patterns. Everything is about patterns. It's a behavioral pattern, it's a thought pattern, and eventually it becomes a hormonal response. That's what it's all about. So here's the final takeaway. And yes, this is the liberating truth that most people aren't told. Based on what they're saying in this video, and I'll put a link to it at the end, you can reclaim authorship of your inner world. Your thoughts aren't facts. Your patterns aren't destiny. Neuroplasticity can be shaped. It's a biological mirror of personal transformation that's just for you. You can change. And mind management and that daily practice, it allows you to step into a new reality and become who you truly want to become, not who you are conditioned to be. My commentary on this channel is one that is supportive and not negative. I want to be very clear about that. And I want to support these two. And Mel does a great job of unpacking the topic and helping the audience to really comprehend and translate what's going on. And they both do a fantastic job. So I want to just say thank both of these women for bringing such beautiful knowledge to teach people how to grab a hold of their mind. And that's all for there is today. Like, don't forget to like, subscribe, share. Voices of Victory podcast. See you on the next episode.